Hello, my lovely. You didn't get to where you are in your business by doing shit the way that everybody else does. And you know that what got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be. And if you are listening to this podcast, it's because you want to be the go to for what you do better than anyone else. Your brilliance is the niche. Being you, that bold, unfuckwithable presence that you've secretly been craving to set free, she is in there. And that means you will have to burn some old bridges down. And attracting your people will also repel those who are not for you. Fucking hooray. Becoming a force of nature business and brand means no more Miss People Pleaser, no more hiding your turbo brain, no more dimming down jack shit. And if you have ever been told to tone it down as a woman with ADHD, it's time to tone your shit all the way the fuck back up. That is how you create unstoppable momentum in your business and visibility that is something you've been avoiding, but that you truly want. This podcast is about stepping into your upgrade, watering down anything, never change the fucking world. You were not born to be forgettable. And as one of my all-time favorite quotes says, well-behaved women rarely make history, and nothing about you or me is well-behaved. At least not anymore. Over 6 weeks, I am sharing the 5 different areas of my Anti-Framework Business Scaling Playbook. It is created for feral as fuck, like you, like me, ADHD humans who are coaches or online service providers. This is week 2. So if you haven't heard the previous episode, go back and listen to that first and then come back here. On March 6th, 2023, at 49 years old and having been a business owner since I was 24, I was diagnosed with ADHD while running this business. And I've been in the online arena since 2019, but I really decided to go more into that mentorship and coaching area in 2021. But I could not get my business to where I wanted it to be. I could not understand for the life of me what was going on. I had owned other 6-figure businesses without any problem. And then ADHD diagnosis. That was the main turning point. I am going to share the process with you of how I found this method, my signature method, which if you would have told me I would have found one, I would have laughed in your face because I did not think that a signature program, I couldn't put something like that together for the life of me. My brain just wouldn't. But it kind of formed itself, really. And I'm sure that I'm not the only person that's happened for. This is what I see overall, these overarching themes that are most needed by ADHD women in business. These things lead to more self-trust, and some of them lead to increased self-esteem in business and outside of your business. Because after a lifetime of lacking self-trust and having self-esteem issues because we thought we were somehow less than, that shit gets to change starting now. So from one force of nature to another, turn the volume up to an 11 and let's get feral. Welcome back to the ADHD Entrepreneur, the podcast for feral as fuck ADHD women in business who refuse to play by the rules. My name is Carrie. I am your host. I am the head bitch in charge around here. And I'm also the chief weirdo of Carrie Out Loud. If you are new here, welcome. I am so glad you found the podcast. If this episode has an impact on you, if you could do me a quick favor, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you can come back every Wednesday and leave a 5-star review with something that hit you, something that struck you that you didn't really necessarily know you needed to hear. When you do that, when you leave a review and a 5-star review, it helps other women like you find the podcast. Now, usually I do different topics with each episode, but this is a series of 6. Like I said, if you haven't heard episode 1, go back to the last episode and then come back here and continue on, and it will come back for the next 4 weeks. So I can lay this all out for you, how it all came to be, what it looks like, how it helps you. Just some of these concepts alone are going to help you, that's for sure. And they're definitely going to speak to your feral fun house of a brain. So let's go ahead and get into it. This first topic is all about building cult brand energy. And that, well, first of all, you are the brand. You as a person, your energy, how you are on a day-to-day basis, your hyperfixations, the things that you love, those elements of who you are that you infuse into your brand. So we're going to talk about Apple and how this is going to help you scale without losing yourself anymore, without losing yourself as a human. So we're going to break open one of the biggest secrets to building a business that doesn't just get you clients, it gets you a movement. It gets you hardcore, all in. Fuck yes, I have to work with her, or I am staying around in her ecosystem because they are getting results. They are loving what you're doing. And frankly, no one, and I mean no one, really has done it better than Apple. And so I'm going to use them as a great example of a cult brand. Cult brand may turn some people off, and I understand, but what I want you to take away from this is more the underlying reason why these brands have cult followings, why people line up around that. We'll get to that in a moment, but I just want you to understand this concept from the energy perspective of it and the why this fucking happens. Okay. So the first thing is Apple is not just a brand. It's an identity for a lot of people. I want to give you the example that I've given many times before. I have an Android. I'm a diehard Android person. I know the operating system. I like the phones. I like how they work. Apple is not the best phone out there. However, their advertising and the way that they do certain things makes them have diehard lovers. They love their products. They love Apple. And it becomes almost part of their identity, where if I send a text to my family, they all have Apples. My text bubble comes up a different color. I'm an outsider, right? I'm not on the inside. I'm an outsider. But do you know what I'm saying? That alone has a we're in, she's out kind of feel to it. Not that my family is going to do that, but just that alone is kind of what I'm talking about here. When you are buying an Apple product, you are not just buying tech. If you were just buying tech, no one would give two shits. They'd be like, oh, another phone, right? I mean, how many other brands are there out there with phones? A shit ton, right? But you are buying a feeling, the feeling of being smarter or cooler or more innovative and part of something bigger, right? The secret that most people miss is that Apple's genius is not the products solely. It's their brand umbrella. Brand umbrella is something that I'm introducing. It is a way for people who are maybe more multi-passionate or multifaceted in what they do to be able to take that, and instead of feeling like they have to niche, and we will be talking about niching in another episode, but instead of feeling that whole need of, I'm going to put myself in a box and I'm going to niche, you now have this umbrella that it all falls under. And Apple's umbrella is 2 words: think different, right? The one thing I will give Apple that I love about their branding is that they create that feeling of being an individual. You are yourself, but they also create a feeling of belonging. And they're not saying buy a phone, buy a laptop, buy an iPad, buy an Apple Watch, buy AirPods, buy a MacBook, buy Apple TV. They're not saying any of that, even though they sell all of those things. and iTunes and movies, right? All of those things. But their messaging, think different. Their identity, think different. Their movement, think different. That is one clear messaging umbrella that everything they do fits underneath. Every new product, every marketing campaign, every app, every store experience screams, you're not like everyone else. You think different. Welcome to the future. That is why people line up at 6 a.m. at an Apple store or even earlier, overnight. I mean, I've seen crazy shit where people are just waiting in line to get their hands on a new iPhone. How often also does Apple have that, what would they call it? They have that whole thing where they talk about all the new products that are coming, right? They have like a multimedia presentation and it's goes out to everybody. And people are like, oh, let's see what's next. Let's see what's next, right? Even though you could just order that same iPhone online and have it delivered in a couple days. Nope. They want to sit in a line at the Apple store waiting for that shit to come out because they want it in their hand right then. It is not the phone. It is the identity hit they are chasing. They're buying who they feel they are with that product. It's not even, here's the thing. This is not about manipulation. This is about how they built this brand to help people feel that in a way that makes them feel like that individual and part of a group. One of the things we want is to belong. We want places where we feel belonging. Apple has created that. Why am I telling you all of this? Because that's what you're creating. If you had, I would say 100 to 150 die hard, obsessed clients who either have worked with you at some point, are working with you at some point, or are drooling all over everything you're doing, waiting to see what you're going to do next, you will have a business with clients coming out your ass. I'm going to go over that a little bit later. I'm not sure if it's in this episode or not, but when you have those people, they shout your name in other places because you've done right by them, because you've supported them, because you've given them the best you possibly can. And they have had the kind of transformations or changes in their business or their life, whatever it is you do that you're providing. You could be coaching on so many different things or doing so many different types of services. But at the end of the day, you are doing something to make it more simple for the people you work with. So why does Apple's Think Different work so well for them? Emotional resonance is one of them. Apple doesn't market their specs, AKA their features. They don't market the RAM size. They don't market the megapixels. They don't market the battery hours, which we know, goes down over time. They market freedom, rebellion, innovation, elegance, right? It's not about how the tech works. It's about how you feel when you have that item. And it's about being part of what may come next in their world. It's an aspirational identity. It doesn't, when you buy an Apple, it doesn't make you elite because they say you are part of this elite group of people. It's implied. And it is clean, powerful, minimalistic messaging. They talk about it through their design. That's not talking about it. Through their vibe. That's a feeling. Through their energy. That's a feeling. You feel like you're stepping into the future. You feel like you're one of the cool kids. You're not stuck being one of the masses. You're part of something. Community, hello. How often do we hear that word? Their brand creates a sense of individuality and community. And their branding, when you think about it, is brutally simple. White backgrounds, sleek designs, quiet confidence, one striking product center stage, no screaming about discounts, no chaos, no desperation. Do you see what I'm getting at here? They move with the energy of, you already know this, you want this. We don't have to yell about it. And here is the genius part about it, even more brilliant. Everyone owns the same device, but no two people use them the same fucking way. Your iPhone home screen looks different than anybody else's that you know. Your apps, your setups, your world inside of that phone or that device or whatever, it's yours. It belongs to you. You have crafted and created in your way. This is part of what I help people do with their branding and with their business, is create a brand and a business that is of you. I don't want people being a carbon copy of me. I don't have that kind of ego. I want you to have the business that you want. And there are several different ways to get you there. There is no box you have to be in. There is no one size fits all. It gets to be your world, right? Very similar to Apple when I am supporting you, right? So they created this mass belonging without that feeling of the boxed in sameness. No cloning. It's a energy of community. So what this means to your brand. Let's also talk about the word niche. Niche is one of those words that a lot of people with ADHD, it just makes you want to poke your fucking eye out, right? You niche down, niche down. You do want to niche down, but I'm going to give you an anti-niche niche. Ready? Say that 5 times fast. Okay. You don't have to pick a tiny niche to be successful. Your niche is you. So here's what that looks like. Your values, your traits, your energy, your mission, the shit you love to get paid to do. You can have different types of offers. You can have different passions or purposes. You can have multiple layers to what you do, but have it all live under one clear, energetic umbrella. When you read the little thing on my podcast, or you hear me say, this is the podcast for feral as fuck ADHD women in business who refuse to play by the fucking rules, that is an umbrella. I did not tell you how. I did not tell you what you have to do. I didn't tell you any of that. I literally told you, as Apple says, think different. I told you my version of think different. I'm not telling you in that my entire business plan. I'm not telling you the elements of what it takes to get you there, or the features, or pointing out that it has X number of meetings and this Zoom call, blah, blah, blah. Nope. I'm telling you what the transformation looks like. You get to be your feral as fuck self and not play by the rules. My playbook that I'm talking about here is a rule-wrecking, industry-breaking way of scaling your business because you are wired differently and you get to do it differently. So let's talk about your think different. Doing this is a way to scale without feeling trapped. That's how you stay creative. That's how you stay open. That's how you take those millions of ideas that you have in your brain all the time and pluck some of them out and execute them. That's how you get to be magnetizing and like a tractor beam to your clients without them ever feeling confused about what you do. It is very clear what you do. Every little single solitary piece of how you get them there is not what it's about at all. They want to know, can you get me from point A to point B? Can you get me from over there to over here? Yes. They don't go, how? Is it for Zoom calls and workbooks? No, they're like, I need to get from there to here. Get me there. So this is more about how you have a niche, is your energy and the type of people you are looking to attract. And I go into this in a little bit more depth in another episode of this, but what I want you to understand overall is your niche is not just the type of business that you do, but it's the type of people you want to work with. I like working with bold, big moving, energetic head bitches in charge. The ones who may have some squirrels going on in their brain, but they have big goals and big visions, and they need what I know we need most, which is guardrails and accountability. Okay. So this is the way that when you have this umbrella, you can sell coaching today or retreats tomorrow or a membership or a mastermind or a podcast or a newsletter, whatever it is you want. You can launch whatever lights your ass on fire because the brand is you and the transformation that you provide and the way that you help people get there. That's how you provide the transformation, but they need to know where they are and where you can help them get to. Not all the nitty gritty of that, because the nitty gritty comes in the support of them. It comes on your sales page, all that jazz. Your people aren't buying your product. They're not buying the name of a program. They're not buying any of that. They're buying the experience of being in your ecosystem. They're buying the experience of the specific way that you do what you do. Just like Apple. I want you to tattoo this next thing on your brain. Okay. Apple is a cult brand because they made you the hero, not the product. They sell you the avenue to the way to where you want to go already. They're not telling you a specific direction to go. You're the one seeking the direction. They're saying, okay, you're seeking that direction. I can head you that way. And if you want a brand and a business that scales so much more effortlessly and feels like a fuck yes to your fuck yes clients who find you, then you build your own version of Think Different. And you own your energy and you own a feel that they can't unsee. And I want to be very clear. My brand is big and bold and loud because that's me as a person. When I say being a bold brand, it does not mean you cannot be more gentle and rooted. It does not mean you cannot be more quirky and unique. It doesn't mean you can't be more sexy and sensual. It doesn't mean any of that. It is literally that. Whatever that is for you, being so rooted and so grounded in that, the feel that they have, that your niche client, your fuck yes client, the energy of the type of client you want to have is drawn into you because of who you are. That is why when people say you are the brand, it's really your energy, your vibe, some of your visuals, some of it is your, names of your programs may appeal to certain people, but at the end of the day, it's you, your energy, whatever that energy is. And your content, no matter where it is, whether it's a podcast or a newsletter or Instagram, whatever, it needs to be oozing and dripping with your ooey gooey personality, your ooey gooey feel, vibe, energy. That needs to be everywhere. Because I know that I have clients or friends, business sisters, et cetera, who say to me, when I see a piece of your content, I know it's yours. Ta-da! When they read the words, they're like, oh, that's a Carrie piece of content. It isn't just about the visuals or the font that I chose or any of that. My energy screams out of it. And that is what makes my content look like Technicolor and everything else look grayscale. To my fuck yes people, my words, the way that I speak is the actual way that I speak, by the way. That's a huge, huge deal. There's so much learned vernacular around Instagram. And if The way you are speaking is not how you would talk when you are walking down the street. What in the whole entire fuck are you doing? I made a joke the other day that if one more coach puts a client into a container, I'm going to scream. Now, if you have used the term container your whole life, then great. And when I mean container, like a coaching container. For the rest of this, for myself, I'm like, I'm not leftovers. I don't go into Tupperware. That's a container, right? For me, it's a program, a community, whatever. I use my language. I was guilty for a long time of using words and using different statements and phrases and things that I was hearing everywhere because I thought that's what I needed to do in order to fit in. I was wrong. Well, actually, I was right. That's what made me bland and beige as fuck. Because when you sound like everybody else, you just, magically disappear. But when you use your words and your vernacular and the way that you say shit, I have said this time and time again, whether you're on a call with me, whether you're listening to this podcast, if you see me on the street, the way that, or if you read a piece of my content, all of that, it's going to be uniform. Because if somebody sees your content or reads something or sees, a different version of you on your Instagram or on your stories, and then they get inside of one of your programs and this whole different version comes out, that's jolting to them. That's unfair. It's unfair. So no matter what that feel is, that vibe is, that energy is that you carry every single day, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter. But be it. Be about it. Don't let clients come in and have some fucking shock when you're slinging the F word around like Gary Vee or myself, and they thought they were getting some peaceful, serene guru, unless you are a peaceful, serene person. Do you see what I'm saying here? The energy that you are about. That is what creates a cult brand, because people can smell bullshit. And when something isn't lining up, they can tell and they move along. But when you are all of yourself, you stand out. Like I said, everything else looks grayscale. You are in full fucking technicolor to your people. They read your words, they see your visuals, they see all of that is of you, and they're like attracted to it, and they cannot always tell you why, but it's a visceral reaction they have. That's it. So to summarize this before I give you a couple of action steps, Apple sells powerful personal identity. They don't just sell products. Their brand umbrella, their messaging umbrella, which you're going to hear me use that term a lot because I feel like for ADHD humans, we need that messaging umbrella more than I do this and this and this and this and that. It's like, what is the overall theme of what you help people do? So your version of Think Different. It allows you to expand in any direction that you want to without anybody feeling confused. They know what you're about. The other things, your offers, all of that, that's just part of what you offer. You can be multi-passionate as long as your energy and your mission are clear and focused. You know your bigger vision and where you're heading and what that looks like. You're golden. You don't need 47 niches. You need one world that your dream client wants to belong to. They want to be in. Listen, let's talk Harley Davidson. People tattoo that shit on their skin. I'm not saying you want to have clients who want to tattoo your name or your brand on their skin. It's not what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe you want to tattoo your own name, your own brand name on you. I don't care. But do you understand what I'm saying here? That's brand loyalty. Harleys are not necessarily the best motorcycle out there, but they have a devoted clientele. Apple, not necessarily the best phones out there, but they have a dedicated clientele. And I'm not saying here that you're not the best possible coach or service provider that you could possibly be. That isn't what I'm saying here. I'm just saying there's a lot of variety. And you want to make sure that you are standing out to your people. And that is why having a cult brand where it is full of your energy and your core beliefs and your belief systems and your essence is all up in that shit. That's how your people actually find you. That is how you break the algorithm, because you have so many referrals coming out the wazoo, and you have people who check your account first before any other account. They open the app and they check yours. They see an email from you, they open it. That's it. That's what a cult brand creates. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's you, which is the best part. You may not fully know who you are, especially if you've been diagnosed recently with ADHD. I know the feeling. I went through it, but I am telling you that bridge is something you are going to cross and get to the other side of. And man, when you do, watch the fuck out, because there are so many upsides to who we are and how we do things as a human that people can't look away. So if you're feeling like, I don't quite know who I am, that's okay. Keep searching. Keep letting go of all the shit and pulling off the masks and doing all that, because from this side where I am right now, I can tell you it's worth it. You want to laugh? Go listen to like episode 20 of this podcast. You'll be like, who the fuck is that? But I did a reel today where I'm like so grateful for that version of me who was tenacious and who just kept moving and who didn't give up until I got to exactly where I was supposed to, which is right now, right here in your ear holes, telling you this information today, because I got myself to an ADHD diagnosis where I finally could understand my brain, which finally connected a bunch of the dots. I finally allowed myself out of these cages. You can get here if you are still in that place. I promise you, one step, one foot in front of the other. Okay? So, a couple of things. Here are some action steps, just light recap here. What is your think different energy or mission? It can even be a statement. It can be a sentence. It can be a paragraph. It can be a couple of sentences, whatever it is. I will tell you, I have rewritten that thing so many times until I realized that the thing I've been saying at the beginning of the podcast this whole time was it the whole time. The tagline on my cover art for this podcast. I was trying to think and how to maneuver all these different words out. It's been there the whole fucking time. Like, oh, well, would you look at that? But because we overthink things sometimes and we want to make everything make so much sense and all of those things, we overcomplicate it. It's part of who we are and it's okay, but we definitely do that. Let's talk about identity. Not like, here's who you need to become. No, this is your energy. What are your core traits? What are your core values? Why are you running this business? Why did you pull this business out of all the neurological zaps in your brain? What made you pull this one out and go, yes, this one, and bring it out of thin air into being? And when I say why, I don't mean just any why. I mean like the deep why. I've talked about mine before. I'll give you a summation. One, and this is a little bit of a trigger warning about suicide. So if that triggers you, just know I'm going to talk about it here for a moment. My father passed away. He had died by suicide, and it was 25 years ago. And I know that the suicide rate in ADHD humans is 5 times neurotypical people. So helping women create businesses that give them kind of more freedom in their lives to be who they are, that fucking matters to me. The second piece of that is that I know that when women have money and a shit ton of it, we spend it differently. We hire other women. We hire differently. We put it into community and put it into our world in a very different way. So when I say mission statement, I say why. It's a deep dig for me. And if you haven't gotten into that depth yet, I highly recommend you do. There is a book I've recommended a million times, but it's called It Starts With Why by Simon Sinek. I would highly recommend reading that book. And asking yourself the why question relentlessly like a 2-year-old until you really get to that core of what it is. Because on the days where you feel like you want to burn it all down, or you feel like poking your eye out and you need to keep your eye on the prize because you have a bigger vision overall in mind, you need those couple of anchor points to remind you of why you're here. So think about that. What are your core traits of you as a person, your values, your vibe, and why? What do you want your brand to blast through a megaphone? And a little bit of brainstorming. What would it look like if your offers and your content and all that jazz lived under one umbrella? It has an overarching theme, but you get to be playful and do those little dopamine hits within that brand umbrella. I hope you like that. So yeah, that is a little bit more of what it means to have a cult brand. And with that, I'm going to end today's episode. Next week will be the next piece. And I cannot wait for you to come back and hear it. If you love this episode, please send it to a friend, subscribe to the podcast, give it a 5-star review, send me a note by carrier pigeon, letting me know what you love, drop into my DMs, tell me what you thought about the episode. I'm a connection queen. I'm a super connector. I love meeting other people and connecting with other people in this community. So please feel free to reach out to me. We're all just human beings. Nobody is better than anybody else. Just because I have a microphone in front of my face doesn't mean anything. I'm just another person sitting here talking in your ear who owns a business like you. So until next week, I see you. I love you. I'm rooting for you always. Stay feral. Bye. Oh, hey, you're still here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the ways to follow me. And of course, my goal is to find and help as many women with ADHD get away from the 9-to-5 grind, because it's just not designed for our neurospicy brilliance, and there are other ways to do life. So by subscribing, sharing, and giving a 5-star review, it helps other women find this podcast as well. And if there's an episode you really love, please feel free to take a screenshot and share it on your social and tag me in it so that I can thank you personally. Until next time, you spicy brained unicorn. Bye.